my uncle was just murdered last year.
We couldn't go to school because our lives were at stake.
He was kidnapped by the Taliban. After 1 week, we hear that Taliban has killed him. They had cut their hands and legs and his head.
There's a lot of terrorism going on in my country right now, and a lot of people that I know have been affected by it.
The government had to issue these orders to every school, every educational institution in Lahore to raise their walls to around 6 feet.
He was really a good man. He got killed because he wanted the university to be built. This is what is going on in Afghanistan. If you work for the peace, if you work for the education, you will get killed.
And now we have these huge fortress-type walls, and they've got barbed wires and stuff.
Seeds of Peace International Camp was founded in 1993 by journalist John Wallach. It is a nonprofit camp that brings together teenagers from conflict regions around the world to Otisfield, Maine. Campers spend 3 weeks living with people who are supposedly their enemy.
Personally, I felt that I would never be able to get over the fact that they're Indians.
When I entered my bunk, I was like, oh, I'm going to be sleeping on a bed with a Pakistani sleeping under me. And that's sort of scary for a person who comes, from a background like mine.
Campers come from Israel and Palestine, Jordan and Egypt, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the United States. It is a camp dedicated to peace, but it isn't without its detractors. For some, it seems frivolous and ultimately ineffective. How can a summer camp change anything? In the final week, campers come together to put on a variety show. Meanwhile, counselors and staff have been preparing a huge surprise for them. A 4-day competition that splits the camp into 2 separate teams: blue and green.
A lot of people didn't think it would work with this group because it was, first of all, it was called Color War. We changed that. But and we thought that, a lot of people thought they had enough war. They didn't need it over here.
And what are you doing? What's going on?
They shed their usual identity just for those 2.5 days. And they are either blue or green. And you see that the identity is so important to everybody.
Russia, on the green team! Nucleus, you're on the green team! You're on the blue team! Green team! To the blue team!
I was green. What I'm afraid of is, I'm not afraid of it, but I think it's very confusing. If I was green, I think I'm always going to like green more, and I don't want to be less loyal to the blue team, so I think it's just easier if I'm green.
There was one really funny time I always remember. Somebody made a mistake and sent somebody over to the blue side when he was supposed to be on the green side. So the first time he went, oh, and he went and he embraced the blue side, and oh, they were so excited, and they said, oops, I made a mistake. You're supposed to be on the green. And so he did exactly the same thing on the green side.
Every time the team who loses the rope tug ends up winning color games. So I'm not just saying, I'm just saying.
because everyone wants to win. And so in order to win, you have to work together. And whether that person is Palestinian, Israeli, Afghani, Indian, Pakistani, Egyptian, Jordanian, you're going to have to work with that person to win and to see, like, to get to where you want.
We feel good.
The violence in Afghanistan is so bad. Before I came in here in this camp, the condition was under control. It was good. And before 1 month, there was a very hard bomb explosion, suicide attacks. There were a lot in Kabul city.
Spider-Man. And move this camp.
I didn't say a word.
I think the enemy of Afghanistan is not a whole of the Pakistanis, just the Pakistanis government.
Good job. Good job.
If peace was to give war a present, what would it be?
In my imagination, I thought about it like
The answer to this phrase. The answer. We give them a prompt that, in our mind, is something that represents peace or represents, how we want the world to be, which I think is great. But part of that is, I think, kind of can become a cliche and can be reduced to just images that someone could look at it and think, oh, that's nice. Like they drew a picture of two people holding hands, or they drew a peace sign in a world, which we see a lot of. They're coming from so many different places, and they're a group of kids that could never normally sit together. And they're not just sitting together talking, they're not sitting together playing a sport, they're sitting together using their minds in a different way, like thinking about the world in a different way, and having to communicate about that creative process, about those concepts. And I guess in my mind, I feel like that process, the thinking and the talking through a creative medium is transformative. But it's hard to have proof for it.
It was a very, very close Hajime. Both went in within, I would say, less than a minute of each other. So whoever memorizes faster will win.
All right, let's go. Let's go get some water. With that, and winner of the message, and winner of Color Game, first session.
Before camp, I was all in for, kill the guy who says something bad about you. But you come here, and the enemy, the conventional enemy, actually has a face I know who I'm going to be fighting against if I'm in the army. So it's just sort of dissuaded me. I don't want to harm anyone who's the same as me.
For me, whenever that I hear from a bomb explosion or something else, it's really harmful because a being is getting killed. That's not meaning that we are Afghan, we are Pakistani, we are American. That's really painful if you think as a human being.
The general concept of power among people is having weapons, is having great mass destruction abilities and this and that. But for me, I think if there was peace, we wouldn't even need all of these things. I think peace is something that if you do get it, if you can live in harmony with people, if you can, resolve differences with people, it's something that makes you like eternally powerful.
Maybe in 10 years from now, when one person from Israel has become the prime minister or the president and one person from Palestine has become the same, they can like actually relate to each other, because like it starts when you're young. If you're planting a seed or planting a flower or whatever, you make sure that the very first seeds, the roots grow well, everything's done ever since it was like small.
When I grow up, I want to be the president for Afghanistan.
There is a poem by Rumi that is read to the camp every summer. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense.